shocking news in the cruise industry. This got better with age. Hello, my friends. Between Carnival's extremely controversial overhaul of their loyalty program and a child falling off the Disney Dream cruise ship in a truly nightmare scenario, I feel like we need some good news for a change and a focus on the positive that might, just might, make us all want to get back on a ship again. And I know what you're thinking, what's with the headline? Because what, specifically about cruising? I'm not talking about wine or cheese here, so don't feel the need to comment about that, even though I love and welcome all of your comments. But what about cruising could possibly get better with age? So today, I've got some unbiased and unsponsored reasons why you should book a cruise vacation over a land vacation if you're over 45 years old. I'll tell you first that unlike a lot of cruise YouTubers you might listen to, I'm not a travel agent and I'm not affiliated with any cruise line. I'm also unsponsored and we pay for all of our cruises ourselves. So what you hear from me is my honest opinion without bias. If you like videos like this, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Now here's something surprising. Up until I was in my early 40s, I hadn't even gone on a cruise before. I couldn't comprehend why anyone would choose to be trapped on a ship for hours and sometimes days on end. And then I took one and it blew me away. Now that I'm retired, it appeals to me for very different reasons than it did when I had young kids. And I feel like no one on YouTube ever talks about this specifically. So today I'm going to tell you reasons why cruising is so amazing for those of us who are just past the halfway mark in this incredible journey we call life. Number 1, insomnia. Don't laugh. I told you I was going to give you reasons you simply weren't going to hear anyplace else on YouTube. According to the National Institutes of Health, up to 50% of older adults report insomnia. And I don't know about you, but I'm right there with that 50%. And if I'm in a hotel on a land-based vacation and I wake up at 4 a.m. like I so often do, I feel kind of trapped in my room. If I'm on a land vacation, it's not like I'm going to wander around at that hour around some city I'm not familiar with to find a cup of coffee and something to look at besides my sleeping husband, who has no problems at all with insomnia, by the way. But if I'm on a cruise ship, I don't stay in my cabin. I go for a walk because there's always someplace with other people around on a cruise ship. There are usually places you can find where there's a little activity or other insomniacs strolling about. In fact, it's my favorite time to be on a ship, and a lot of the less crowded videos you see here on my channel are taken at some very odd hours of the day, and you will see some of the most spectacular sunrises of your life on a cruise ship. What a way to start your day. Number 2, it's cheap. And I'm not talking about the cruise fare itself or the fact that most of the food and entertainment are included in your cruise fare, because people talk about that already on YouTube. I'm talking about the fact that you won't need a rental car. We just booked a week-long rental car in Ireland, and the cost was more than a lot of cruises. And that's not even adding in gas. Now, of course, when you're in port, you might still spend some money on cabs and Ubers or shore excursions, but that's all optional. And I don't know about you, but I like it when things are optional. Number 3, the proximity to entertainment. I'm very lucky because I still get around easily. But I'll be honest, everything just aches a little more than it used to. Are you there with me? Give me a thumbs up if you know what I mean. However, if I take a land vacation, that means I'm probably going to have to travel from my hotel to various entertainment venues. And to find the same level of quality entertainment that you get on most cruise ships, not to mention try to match the sheer amount of it available on a ship, you're going to have to get around quite a bit. Now, I'm not saying that it's no fun to explore things on land. Some of my favorite vacation memories are getting to know cities and towns as I look for entertainment. But these days, I've come to really appreciate having all that entertainment right on board with me. Number 4, ditto for restaurants. I hear kids these days saying ditto, and I kind of wonder if they even know what a ditto was. But I digress. The same thing I just said about entertainment applies to dining too. You'll get plenty of variety right on board without having to walk the streets of some unknown city to find places to eat. Number 5, medical services are right on board the ship, and they are top-notch. Personally, I've never needed them, and neither has my husband, but many years back we had a family member who needed a doctor while on a cruise, And it really made me think how happy I was to be on a ship rather than wandering around someplace I didn't know looking for medical care. And let's face it, as we get older, there are more chances that we might have issues. I'm not by any means saying that a ship doctor is going to replace your normal doctor on land. So if you need a hip replacement, don't plan on getting it on Royal Caribbean. But I just enjoy the peace of mind of knowing there is medical care I can count on a ship. That said, it's really costly, so I can't emphasize enough the importance of getting good trip insurance that includes medical care. But that's an entirely different video. Number 6, I get to see many different places without having to constantly unpack and pack my things. Because on land vacations, I usually want to see more than just one place. So that means I usually need to change hotels a few times to see as many places as I would on a cruise. I used to do that all the time on vacations when I was younger, and frankly, even then I hated it. But now that I'm older, all that bending as I look for random socks left under the bed and hauling luggage back and forth is even more unappealing to me. By the end of my trip, well, I find myself needing a vacation just to recover. But when I'm cruising, I unpack once. And then I get to enjoy myself and really relax. And isn't that what vacationing is all about? Number 7, and let's end this with another reason that no one else on YouTube is talking about. And let's compare cruising to one of the quintessential American land vacations. My friends, cruise ships have fewer lines than Disney World. That's right, you can go with your kids or your grandkids and not spend quite literally several hours of your day standing in lines. And they'll enjoy a cruise with you every bit as much as a trip to Disney World, in my opinion. I hate to say this because, in all honesty, I love all of my Disney World memories. But after turning 50 or so, I started looking at that clock ticking and thinking that time is a little more precious than it used to be. And for me, I've started being a little less tolerant of long lines when I'm on vacation. Now granted, you will run into a line or two when you're on a cruise ship from time to time. There might be a short line to get your margarita at the pool bar, or to get a bingo card, or to get some of that marvelous pizza at Royal Caribbean's Sorrento's. But even the lines for the ship water slides are going to pale in comparison to what you'll find at Disney World. So if you're starting to feel like you want to make every moment count while on vacation, that might be something you want to consider. Don't get me wrong, there are at least 100 other reasons why cruising is such a great option over a land vacation. The people, the crew, the adventures, the options of entertainment, the way cruises cater to different generations of families so that no one ever gets bored. I love all those things about cruising too. But you've probably heard those ones on YouTube before. And I really don't want people thinking that cruises are always a better option than land vacations. If you want to see the Rocky Mountains, or stay in castles in Europe, or even just really dive into the pub scene in Dublin for days on end, then a land vacation might be a better choice. But I hope you'll always consider cruising as a great option. And again, I'm unsponsored and I'm not a travel agent, so I stand to gain nothing by saying that. That said, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, for commenting, for subscribing, and for making this such a wonderful, supportive community.